Okay, welding thongs here. There's no car in the garage. There's some steel, some wheels, and a motor. I've been working on the standard 10 and I was just getting the final sort of door fit and all of the body filler done, and it's a bit hard to work in the garage, so what I did is I wheeled it out and then it started to rain. We don't get a lot of rain here, but anyway, 2 days of rain now and getting a bit stir crazy, so I had this steel in the backyard and I thought, while I've got an empty garage, I might as well start cutting up the steel for the frame. So what I've done is I've got basic measurements, as I've explained before, and the floor plate assembly here, and what I'm going to try and do is start cutting bits, for lack of a better term. These are incomplete with the measurements, as far as measurements go. I don't have this angle, so this is a bit of a step up. So there's an angle there, and I'm just concerned that my geometry is going to be out, so I'm not going to worry about anything from this outrigger and center support forward for now, and I'm just going to focus on this. Sorry, I'll just pull you in a bit. I'm just going to focus on this box section, mainly this front part, the center support, and then start working the outriggers out, so I get that one. Then I'll cut the top hat for it and weld all that up so I've got one part, and then I'll probably go to this center one here, weld that on square, and then start running these across, and then working my way back. But there's an angle change here, so there's a slight variation. It kicks out that way. So this is for a 1955 split screen panel van, and it has no floor in it at all. So basically I've just got, you know, the front, the sides, the back, the sides, not much of the roof, and I've got this section here which is rusty, so that has to be rebuilt, and there. But I've got these bolt holes which are quite important because they give you points of measurement. So I run it back to here and then all the way back to here, so the distance between your axles will be exactly the same. That's really important. So to the millimeter, you know, from the center of that bolt hole right there on the back axle, torsion bar, right to one of these bolts. It doesn't really matter which one, but on this drawing it's to here, to the millimeter. And then you know, I get the steering geometry correct as well from that point, because you know, there's a bolt hole here, and then I can run it back to the steering support bar. So it's all really important, and I've got all of the exact measurements here. But especially the triangulations when you start to put panels back on later on. But I really want to get this started at least. I've got some really crappy weather right now, and judging by what's going on, I'd say it's going to be here for a few days now. So I've dragged this up. It's 8 metre lengths of steel. They're not light. 2.5 millimeters thick, slightly thicker than the original frame. So, and it's boxed as well. So the original frame was like a C section. You can see here. So it's got a kick and then back and then along and then up. So it's a C section. It was only boxed at the ends and it was hollow all the way through to about here, I believe it was, to about here, sorry. So there was it was just a pressing. I think it was just a moulding. And same as here as well, that was a pressing, and then they welded this plate on the inside. You can see that little lip just here. I don't think it's as strong as what I'm going to do, because basically there's more steel with mine. So it's going to be enclosed all the way around. So like that, but all the way along. And I believe that's why a lot of these buses rusted out like that. You know, it was just open. So every surface was open to the elements, and then you get salt and moisture and dirt, and then obviously it just keeps degrading it over time. So I'm going to box it all in, all the way along, sorry, yeah, and these I-beams I'm using box section as opposed to this, because there's a seam. It's like a pinch weld almost. And it's just got caterpillar welds, and obviously moisture gets into that. So I'm going to use galvanized box section, and it will not rust. So this vehicle, when it's done, will be around for, you know, 50 to 100 years. So what I plan on doing as well is, I know it's a little bit early in the piece, but to stop the inside of these rusting out, what I use is, some people put fish oil in, but what I'm going to do is get a hose. So if you imagine there's a cut section of box this long, and I get a hose that's roughly that big, and then I get on the end of it a sprinkler valve, like a, you know, one of those pop-up sprinklers that shoot water in a fine mist, and I'll attach that to a pressure pack, and I'll thin down bitumen. And if you think about it, if I feed the hose in and then pump it up, it's going to spray all the way around, and then I'll draw it back real slow, and it'll coat every surface on the inside of it as well. So even before once I've welded each section up, that's what I'll be doing. I'll be putting a coating of tar on the inside of each box. So every part of the inside of this frame will be totally sealed up, like it's been embalmed. So that's the plan, and I'll just use like whiskers, so they'll, on the end of the hose where the sprayer is, because it'll be spraying out in a fan, I'll use whiskers, spring steel, very light, to center it. So as I drag it through, it'll be centered rather than just flopping and hitting one side, and so it'll be dragged through very slowly, and then I'll just stand the pole up and drain it out into a bucket so it'll be totally covered. So that's that. So what I'm going to do now is just start cutting. I'm just going to work this one first. I've just taken the measurement from the original bulkhead of the vehicle. I've got it out in the back, so I've got that measurement there. On this photo, it's not on there yet. So this section here is not there, but that distance there to there I've now got. So that's where I'm at, and I'm just going to start cutting.